So we'll hold a minute on your other project. Let's talk with Joy, who's one of our good RE/MAX agents, joining us in the studio today to talk about residential real estate and why it's the most important place you can put your head, right?
Yeah, I've seen real estate at its lowest, and I've seen real estate do really good. So I decided to get into this about 11 years ago. I've been doing sales for quite a while now. As a little girl, I was handing out, merchandise in my grandfather's store. So I think I acquired that, I want to help people. And the other side of me is very analytical, numbers. So I feel like I address my career now. I, number one, wanted to be an entrepreneur.
Well, thank you for that. That's one of those bold steps.
Yes. And in order to make that step, I thought real estate might be a good transition. Who knows where I'll be? I'm not ready to give up to the end on what the best job or the best career would be. But at this time, I am very entrepreneur. I run my business very detailed. And one of the things that I grew up with and took it all the way to my adulthood was customer service. I've been treated really, really bad in my life through vendors, going into stores, buying things, getting cheated. Maybe it's because I felt like when you buy a car, you're a woman, take for them for granted. But I strive to be really smart. I try to be like on the up and above. So when it comes to a customer buying a home, my goal is to make sure they get the best value. I'm not trying to just push the home on them and they live in it and then they're miserable. The fact of the matter is I see a lot of agents that leave their clients hanging. They just, show up when they can. They don't answer the phone. The customers are complaining to me that, they wouldn't take me to many places. They wouldn't tell me about the details of the area. And they certainly didn't go through the research. And that's what I pride myself on is a lot of numbers and research. Know the area, know the neighborhood, know, what the best value is. Because not only are you buying a home to live in, you're buying that home so in a few years you're making money on it. That's my mentality and how I run my business, that I want not only myself to make money, but I want everybody around me to make money.
That's so that home is your nest egg, right?
Yeah, exactly.
How in the marketplace today, we all heard the story about buy a little bit of Buckhead and take good care of it. I'm sure you service the entire metropolitan area, but talk about some of the hot spots in our community.
Well, obviously, Buckhead has made a huge transition. I mean, we saw it back in, 2005, 6, and 7, kind of look like a deserted little area. But now you've got the Village, which is incredible. I mean, I've traveled all over this country, and I would say it's real close to Rodeo Drive. I mean, it's looking really, really good. And just to kind of transition with the guys here, I have sold homes all over the city and noticed in town a lot of actors, a lot of people coming to Atlanta that you didn't see that 10, 11, 15 years ago when I was here. And the city has definitely transitioned to the opportunity of all kinds of careers. I mean,
everything around media is just from Comcast alone, bringing 1,000 new people to the city to be out by the stadium where they've got the highest speed internet in the city, in the area.
Right.
But, it's just amazing the opportunities we have now to do things that we could never do before. The commercials about the smartphone. Wow, what's a smartphone going to be next month? That new commercial with the let's see, do we have a Motorola plug here from Moto? can we use a name like that?
We'll have to charge them. Yeah,
we'll have to charge them. But when you just think about it, the experiences you can have now with just a little 2.5-inch screen, or your iPad, or your tablet, or your billboard, who would have ever thought? Yeah. And do you have your face on a billboard yet?
No, because honestly, I built my business through the internet. Right. I learned quick. Yeah.
Well, that's like being a billboard.
Technology was the way to go. A lot of real estate agents still live in the old school where you just sell to your neighborhood, you know? And my forte is to react to that technology online. I
That's
mean,
great.
I am like really into that, and I'm not such a young chickie, D. Either.
Oh, no, yeah.
And you know,
You have celebrated your 19th, maybe not your 29th or your 39th birthday, but you're working on it, right?
yeah, I try to stay young, and I definitely like working with young people, and it's very energizing to sell homes to them. It really is fun.
Well, it's very good news. You hit on the outline, and the gentleman here also in the same marketplace. You can be a star at 5 years old. You can be a star at 75 years old. You also need to buy homes about every 5 years anyway.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so having a real estate agent you can count on, you wouldn't have a newbie do your will each year.
Exactly.
And you don't want to have a different real estate agent if you can avoid it. But some people have to move between cities. And I know that you're with RE/MAX, right?
Yes.
And RE/MAX does a great job of referrals, so you're always glad to find, see, smell, touch, and work with one more customer, right?
It definitely promotes entrepreneurialism too, compared to a lot of the other brokerages in the area. They're more corporate moved, and I like to. I just like working on my own. I'm very motivated to self-discipline to get the thing done by myself.
Well, Joey, I'll always like to hear those one-liners, those two-liners, those three-liners. So what is your elevator speech for real estate?
Well, I'm here today to talk about how do I make people see what realtors really do for you? I mean, people do not know what is involved, and it's not that big fancy lifestyle either. We work a lot of hours. We give out a lot of ourselves. We listen to a lot of stories. And I'd like to see people know the details so that there's a lot more respect in the industry.
Well, give us your 30-second most exciting story in real estate.
Well, I have a funny story.
We'll take a funny one today.
Well,
We might make it a comic book. No.
exactly, because my
us know.
dream is to actually do a reality show of what real transactions look like.
Okay.
Hey,
Okay.
Rich, here's an opportunity. We can
Let's
do that.
have a conversation later.
So and that's one thing about me. I do not stick with one type of personality or clientele. When people come to me and say, "Can you help me?" If I'm happen to be in that spot, it could be in the lower end of town. It could be. I mean, I sell homes. I've sold a $30,000 home, and I've sold a $500,000, $600,000 home. So my style is, I met this couple. It was a listing, and they were foreign, and they didn't know anything about how to do a transaction, and they wanted to pay cash. But I said, well, okay, well, what, to start them, it was kind of funny that they said we have cash, and I'm like, well, where is it? What bank? So we can, and it ended up being underneath in a bookcase.
Oh.
So I was like, oh my God, this is okay. So you have it was a $135,000 transaction, and they never put the money in the bank. And so the funniest thing, I showed up. I held their hand through the whole thing, and I showed up to the bank because I told them the first thing you got to do is put the money in the bank because the closing attorney will not accept this cash on the table.
Duffel bags do not work.
They showed up. It was so funny with the duffel bag on their shoulder of all this cash into the bank. It was hilarious.
Well, I know that banker has a good story too, so a lot of people have good stories. Well, Joy, how do people find Joy, the great real estate agent from RE/MAX today?
Well, it's really easy. JoyMcGraw.com. And
Could you spell that?
Oh, it's JOY, like Christmassy joy, JOYMCGRAW.com. And
Best phone number?
it's real easy, 770-329-3793. And I always answer my phone.
And the best email in case you don't have time to go to your website and click contact me?
Yes, JMcGraw at remax.net.
Cool.
Thanks so much for the time today.
Joy, it was